Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at the new changes to Marauders, as well as there's a lot of new PTR patch notes to go ahead and check that out. And I want to go ahead and hop right into the gameplay versus just reading because I find it to be much more entertaining. So let's go ahead and hop right into it, and I will show you guys some of the new updates to Season 25's PTR. So let's go and hop into a T16 over here, and I'll show you guys the differences here. So one newest change is with the Dregs of Lie. This is one of the new soul shards. This one has got a rework, and it's all about pets. So we're going to be dealing 25% less damage, but our pets deal 50% increased damage. This used to be more of a support gem, but now it's in the category of like a pet offensive gem, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and hop in, and I'll show you guys not only like, you know, the damage number changes and stuff like that, but I also want to show you guys some gameplay of things that would be something to take into consideration if you're running a certain build. This would probably be one of the better ones now for any of the pet builds. Previously, the Essence of Anguish, which was one of the most powerful ones, has gotten a nerf, and I'll go over the other nerfs and buffs and stuff like that. But basically, we get a new shadow clone that gets to act as a cheat death, and on top of that, it summons a shadow clone that does a decent amount of damage and grants us a bunch of all resist. We're just gonna go, I'm gonna actually remove my belt so I can actually die much faster here. If I touch the shield pylon, we won't be able to die. So I'm gonna activate my cheat death. Over here, you'll see the shadow clone. Now I'm gonna put this on. So this is the shadow. Sometimes it doesn't like attack, so I'm just gonna attack. You can see how much damage it does, though. It does an insane amount of damage when it wants to. But if I want to deal the damage, I can do the damage via just using the sentries, as that's a big part of the Marauder set. Now, we did lose a big multiplier with the set bonus, and it's been moved on to Bombardier's Rucksack, but it's only going to support cluster arrow damage. So you'd have to run like Manticore if you really wanted to do that. Now, over on the leaderboard, if you're wondering, like, is this going to make Demon Hunter unable to do 150s because of this change with, let's say, the Marauder set? People are still doing 150s here. In fact, I think Yugioh, which is another content creator, big shouts to him, he's actually running a really weird build. He's got Odyssey's End, he's got Manticore, and there's no one else that's running this, but he's, I want to say, one of the only ones that is running the cluster arrow build, which most people, they were all running multi-shot. And still, in fact, right now, multi-shot is still very strong, even with the big nerfs to not getting that damage multiplier. But now with this new Dregs of Lie gem, we're actually able to deal quite a bit of extra damage. There's another build. Where is it? Did it get moved? There was another build which was really interesting that was actually utilizing the gems proc of the, you know what, I think it's actually in the God category over here. Yes, this one over here, North War. So they are actually running the Enforcer gem, which is supposed to increase pet damage, but they're running it in a God build with the Dregs of Lies with that Shadow Clone, because that Shadow Clone can do a decent amount of damage. So who knows, maybe some people will start to scale weird builds with the Shadow Clone. I've always liked the Haunt of Voxel. Remember, one season we even had a season of Shadows where we got a bunch of clones, but you can no longer run the double gem setup. By the way, that was like an unintentional bug. But let me go ahead and show you guys some more things with these newest changes. In fact, we don't even have we can throw this in here as well. So the Sliver of Terra got a big nerf. So before you used to be able to get that Ring of Fire every 50 kills, now it's 100. The cooldown reduction is like, well, it's a negative cooldown because your cooldowns are increased by 25%. But this is actually going to big nerf. The increased damage that we deal is only 25% now, so it's a big nerf over there. Some people are on the leaderboard using the Shard of Hatred. Previously, it's all Sliver of Terra. Now there are people running a Shard of Hatred. So what this does with the new bonuses and the new rework here with some of these legendary soul shards is that with this one, we're reading the very last line of text over here where it says you deal 15% reduced damage while you have 3 or fewer enemies within 25 yards. If 3 or more than 3 enemies are within the same distance, you deal 10% increased damage per enemy to a maximum of 100%. That actually goes up to 150. So this has also gotten a nice little buff over here, because previously it's all Sliver of Terror and it was all Essence of Anguish. But now a lot of builds are running Dregs of Lies. There's another change over here with Fragment of Destruction, which gives you pretty good movement speed if you want to like make it a speed build. There's actually another gem I'm going to have to swap this out. This is why I decided to do this in a non-GR, because, you know, obviously you can't swap out gems here. This is not a build guide by any means. I do plan to show off like a build guide, but this is more so just showing off like all the gems here and like different builds that you can play. So with the Stain of Sin, there is a new bonus here. Now normally you'd roll one that has, in our case we'd want fire, but it's like arcane. I'm just trying to show you guys the new changes here. The main thing that we get with this that's kind of cool is they've actually made this reversed. So with the second to the last little like part of the text, a little like diamond shape here, where it says we deal 25% less damage. When we kill 50 enemies, we get to spawn a pool of blood that increases the damage done to elite enemies by 150%, and it lasts for 15 seconds. The last line of text is you gain an additional Rift Progress Orb when you kill an elite pack. So this could be quite great for speedruns if you just want to get those Rift Progress Orbs when you clear out a elite pack. That can be cool. There's also the Fragment of Destruction. The only real important thing here was you get extra movement speed, which can be kind of nice, again, for more speed builds. Usually, like, you'd try to play GOD here. I'm going to throw down some sentries, otherwise we deal 0 damage. But you see the pool of blood after we kill 50, and here is an elite pack over here. Although, like I said, since this is like only doing a T16, everything's just going to melt relatively fast anyways. We can also activate all of our buffs here. But you guys can pretty much get the idea. It's just going to help out for speed when you collect the Rift Progress Orbs. Nothing really too different with that I need to explain. I rolled a few different other ones to see what else we can get. There's another modifier where you can have 25% chance to restore 5% health when an enemy dies when they're marked with the Mark of Destruction. You got to like run through them to get the bonus. But yeah, that is something that you can think about getting where it's each marked enemy that dies removes a second one of your cooldown, and then when you apply, you can increase the movement speed. So it's actually kind of nice. Like I said, you'd have to run through the enemy, and then you'd shoot them like backwards for more speed. But throwing up the entire thing now that I give you guys some of the gameplay here, because I like to visually see things myself. Like I said, I'm not going to read every single piece of text, although we did make a video that went over like all of the changes. I'm just going to be covering what's in red because that's the new things over here. So we cannot equip 2 lesser soul shards. That's been nerfed, but that was kind of unintentional anyways. It was kind of a, maybe like a bug, but they've also changed the range of the rank 2 gems upgrades, and like they changed some of the numbers on like the armor, but it's not that really big of a deal. Sliver of Terra, I already went over the big changes, so it's double the amount required to kill for the proc. This used to absolutely destroy Rift Guard. Still will. They're not changing the damage of it. It just requires 100 to proc versus 50, so big nerfs on that one. And then with the Fragment of Destruction, we get to apply. That's when I kind of showed you guys you can change movement speed. It's like no big deal really with that, other than for doing speedruns. Can be nice. So with the Stain of Sin, like I mentioned before, extra Rift Glow Progress, and they basically flipped it. Previously, it was when you kill an elite, you would do more damage to non-elites, but now it's you kill 50 enemies, which more likely will be non-elites, and then when you do happen to do that, you're going to be able to eliminate the elites a little bit faster. I like that. And then there's additional Rift Progress Orb. Again, great for speedruns. And then the Dregs of Lies. This is like the big one over here, with the biggest change being a huge buff to all pet support builds. There's another modifier, and I do want to show this one visually as well. So over on the second to the last line of text over here, each time our pet hits an enemy, our damage is increased by 1% for 5 seconds, and it stacks up to 100 times, so 100% extra bonus damage, but when we reach 100 stacks, it resets back to 0. So interesting little effect over there. I'm curious to know if there's a way to snapshot keep it at 100. If you guys happen to know, let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, Dregs of Lies, basically the biggest change over here with these legendary gems. And then also, they mentioned the Essence of Anguish was applying some damage that was incorrect. No longer works with Sever. I never got to play with that. That thing would have been fun, though. I never even thought about using it. That's one of the legendary, I think it's a sword or a dagger, where when you kill the enemy, it does massive amounts of like numbers damage, but it doesn't actually deal it to the enemy. It just doesn't work anymore, though, with the Essence of Anguish. But like I mentioned before, it got heavily nerfed over here because it was doing way more damage than it was supposed to be actually dealing, which is kind of unfortunate. But like I said, a lot of people are moving on to the Dregs of Lies over here. And they also updated Depth Diggers to now work with all primary skills. Previously, it only worked with things that would generate. Other changes over here that they did mention, there's a huge change to the Witch Doctor build. So with the the 2-piece of the spider set, the Erecure. So you can summon a permanent spider queen that's connected to you by an infestation thread. So this is going to completely change it up. I'm going to actually do a specific video going over a build for this. So that's why I didn't show any here. I'm going to save that for a completely different video, and I'll tell you guys how it feels. I don't really play Witch Doctor that often, but I'm curious to know, for those of you guys that have played this new build, is it really a big difference? Because I didn't play the previous one. I was still actually working on trying to get a GR 150 done. Right now we've cleared up to 148 on the well, if I go do like solo DH, we've done 148 right now. Like, Demon Hunter is really fun this season. We were running a GOD, but like I said before, the build is still very strong. It's just we got, you know, obviously the bust with the new legendary gems, but with the 2-piece bonus, yeah, we get a different mechanic with this infestation thread. I'm guessing it's some sort of tether, but with a 4-piece bonus, it leaves behind a web that lasts for 15 seconds, slows the enemies, and then we take 75% reduced damage while in the web and for 4 seconds after. So that's kind of nice that you can get that damage reduction really fast. So I'm not sure if this is going to be necessarily a buff or a nerf. I'm guessing it's going to be a buff over here because they mentioned that they need to give it a power increase. So my guess is it is considered going to be a buff. So they also made some other changes. Again, we're just checking out the text in red. So they're the corpse spiders are no longer affected by crowd control effects. That'd be a buff. They updated the Ring of Emptiness to benefit all non-fetish pets. That seems like it should be a buff as well. And then the Shurikani's Triumph to better reflect functionality. Corpse spiders can now benefit from pet buffs. So that's going to be definitely a huge thing after getting the new Dregs of Lies buff as well. The Demon Hunter, like I mentioned before, they removed the damage multiplier and they moved it to the Bombardier's Rucksack. So it incentivizes the cluster arrow play because everyone was playing multi-shot, and everyone is still mostly playing multi-shot. Other than I showed you guys, Yugioh was playing the build where he was shooting them with the primary skill so he can get more damage out of it. And that's a very clever mechanic. Who knows if that will be the meta? I'm not quite sure yet, because sometimes people like to test things out and just really try to push with certain like obscure builds, but right now the meta still seems to be like the multi-shot with the fire. But they've also are changing. They didn't do anything with the Necromancer, surprisingly, over here, but with the Wizard they actually are reverting the nerfs over here that they actually put in place. So they're buffing it back up. They originally half the 2-piece bonus and then half the 6-piece bonus. They're like, okay, it's fine, but they did also still technically give another nerf. The pets cannot trigger the effect of the 6-piece bonus, which means no illusions will be able to proc it. So that's kind of unfortunate, because I thought that was a really cool build with that one. But they fixed some bugs over here, and like, you know, they'll mention some of those things. But I went over what I would consider the most important changes, but I'll also leave it down below in case any of you guys do want the full read. But basically what it comes down to now, for majority of players, looking at like the leaderboards, let's just go to non-friends here. You can still see it's pretty much Dregs of Lies in most people's. It's Dregs of Lies, Sliver of Hatred, or Shard of Hatred in the helm. In terms of like what are the best gems, because that's what a lot of people want to know. For different builds, depending on what your playstyle is, you can mix and match. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people are using that prevent. You get the cheat death, and you get the shadow clone, and you get an extra bonus to all resist. That 225 is quite nice. If you look at like, well, most people, let's see, okay, most people are playing diamonds in their gear. Another 225 is very nice to get that in addition. It's like basically like your entire chest piece right there full of extra diamonds for that bonus of the new legendary proc with the Dregs of Lies. But let me know, guys, what you think of the changes. I think the changes are pretty cool, because I do like that there's a gem for pets, there's a gem for like more damage, there's a gem if you want to do speed. Like, I like variety versus like, oh, this is the best gem, because before literally 99% of the builds were just running this. Unless you're running a support build, then there were some plays with it. But I like it. It looks like it's going to be a really cool season for Season 25. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap up for the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and do want to see more videos in the future, and I'll update you guys if there's any more changes. There might be like one last change before, obviously, the season goes live. And if you guys do want to be up to date on more games, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.